Or to the So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. This is certainly one of my favorite Global Chamber events because it allows us to take a snapshot of what's going on in the world from trusted resources all over the world. The basic idea of Global Chamber is to support people to grow their business. We can find anyone we want to. We could always do that by doing a Google search. And now with AI, we can tell it to find certain types of people and we can go find them. The challenge, and it's going to be an increasing challenge, is who to trust. How can we really understand not only the right people to work with, but also the right opportunities anywhere in the world? And so we're here, and that's our goal. The whole basic fundamental concept of Global Chamber was to have all of these chapters and then have in each chapter at least one leader who was deeply connected in that region, that was honest and professional and well connected and knowledgeable about local and global business ideas and was practical. And because of that, it creates a network that's unparalleled. And so it's not perfect. We've got a lot of work to do on it, but we're working on it. And I'm very encouraged, especially the last couple months, of incorporating AI into the backside of the processes and the systems that we have, that it's going to get much better very quickly. If you're keeping up on AI, and maybe this is our first update of the world for today, AI is unbelievable. And as we've developed Globi over the last 9 months, week by week, as I jump into those development meetings, it's fundamentally changing on a weekly basis. And so it's unprecedented what's happening with artificial intelligence and how that's driving the semiconductor industry, how it's driving the data center industry. Yesterday, we had Paul Charles talking about data centers. Unbelievable, how fast things are changing there and how those implementations are happening at such a rapid rate. And so we've got so much going on. And so hearing from you from your perspective is so important. So we have 9 speakers today lined up. I asked each of them to speak for about 5 minutes or up to 5 minutes. Hopefully that ends up working. So if we end up having, I think there's actually 8 because of one person who has a dog emergency, a little Bichon that she probably won't be able to join us. But the rest of you, that would give us about 40 minutes. So that would bring us to about 50. What I'd like to encourage all of you is to listen and to provide your comments and thoughts in the chat area. I'll be monitoring those for questions. However, I encourage you to raise your hand and ask questions along the way as well. Please put your information in the chat area. We want to know who you are. Please put your full name and ideally your company affiliation in the Zoom area there where it shows, so that we all know who you are. Ideally, putting your LinkedIn profile as well so that we can connect in easily. When Bill Edwards is in the room, we always start with him. I don't know anyone, first of all, that's got 50 years of trade experience in such a wide variety of areas. I don't know of anyone with his expertise in so many areas and having particular expertise in oil and gas and also on the franchise area in the franchise business. There's nobody better on international franchising. He is the resource. He also provides every 2 weeks a bi-weekly update of what's going on in the world. It was always amazing. It's extraordinarily, or as Bill says, it's exceedingly interesting and amazing these days because there is so much going on, and he's been able to capture that. So if you're growing internationally, Bill's biweekly is essential reading. Bill, thank you for joining us today. Bill's, by the way, he's on our advisory board at Global Chamber Los Angeles, and he's also the chair of the District Export Council for Southern California. He's also involved in all sorts of things, a great resource on every level. Bill, what's going on in the world and here on USMCA week, and what would you like to share?
Oh, thanks, Doug, for the introduction. I appreciate it. I'm going to talk real briefly this morning about the status of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, which is called USMCA. It formally was up for renewal on July 1st, and the U.S. has advised everyone that they're not going to renew the agreement, which means that it'll still stay in effect until 2032, but it'll be up for negotiation every year. The problem with that is that companies that are depending on what the trade terms are will have to be worried about them changing every year. Compliments of the U.S. Just to give you a little background, in 2024, 80% of Mexico's total goods exports were to the United States. 75% of Canada's exports were to the United States. 31% of the U.S. exports were to Mexico or Canada. The total trade between the three countries last year was 1.9 trillion. That's a T, by the way, dollars. And it included 17 million jobs between the three countries. So it's kind of important. The main concern the U.S. has is the lack of enforcement of existing clauses by Canada and Mexico. The clauses are in there, but they're not being enforced by the countries. So the U.S. wants to renegotiate bilaterally with each of the countries. It really relates to rule of origin, where things are coming from, energy in Mexico and digital services in Canada. Just as a summary, despite the U.S. saying that they're not going to renew, the agreement remains in full force and effect. Nothing about the current terms changes. Duty-free trade and the agreement's other provisions operate the same as they are. There will be bilateral negotiations between U.S. and Mexico and U.S. and Canada to fix some problems, but it's not termination. It stays into effect actually until July 1st, 2036. And until an agreement is reached, the parties are required to annually discuss renewal. The U.S. Trade Representative, who's in charge of this, has confirmed that the U.S. and Canada will hold real rounds of bilateral negotiations starting the 20th of July. Mexico's been in discussions with the United States since March, and it's coming very close to having some enforcement clauses fixed. Canada has just barely showed up. They haven't scheduled any meetings yet, but there'll eventually be bilateral meetings with Canada. Bottom line is the agreement stays in place. It just will be up for discussion every year going forward. That's a real brief summary.
Uh, that feels a little bit like new news to me, or is it what we knew before?
Nope. The July 1st was the date the U.S. had to say whether they were going to renew or not, and they said they would not agree to renew for 6 years, which is typical. That it would be up for negotiation every year on July 1st.
I see. Is that what you had expected then? Is that
Pretty much, yeah.
okay?
U.S. wanted bilateral negotiations with Mexico and with Canada. This $1.9 trillion is basically tariff free, and the U.S. is not happy with tariff free. When I say the U.S., I mean the current administration, not the entire U.S. Business people are very happy with it, but the U.S. administration is not. So it remains in effect, but every July will now until 2036, we will have negotiations between the three countries to fine-tune issues that one or the other is not happy with.
Are those bilateral discussions or trilateral?
Well, they're bilateral this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What should businesses be thinking about right now? As you said, nothing changes really.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I don't think there's going to be a lot of impact on business. The the enforcement of clauses that are already in the USMCA is what the U.S. is after. The business community, the U.S. unions are trying to get some of the employment clauses changed to make it more beneficial to do more of the work in the United States. It's unlikely that'll occur.
Fascinating. So, how are you communicating this to your community? Does there any implications on the oil and gas, or in the franchise community, or in some of the other markets,
Well,
like special?
my role in international business is transcends franchising. I'm more focused on global trade, and the energy situation with Mexico is that we're supposed to get American companies are supposed to get equal access to projects in Mexico, and the government has not adhered to that and just gives access to government oil companies and government gas companies. So that needs to be fixed. In Canada, Canadians have put into effect a bunch of taxes on digital services, which only taxes U.S. digital companies. And that's what the U.S. wants to get fixed, because the USMCA says that that will not be the case. There will not be those taxes, but the Canadians put them on anyway. So that's a subject for discussion. The big problem with Canada is they refused to negotiate up until about 2 weeks ago, and then they realized, 75% of our exports go to the U.S. Maybe we ought to participate after all.
Okay, so they're making an earnest effort to come to the table.
I'm not sure the word earnest is the right one. They're making an effort to come to the table finally.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much for that update. It's, with the July 1st date, I guess that creates some level of clarity. The fact that it's in force basically for the next 10 years creates clarity and some stability.
Yes.
So that's all good. So thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Anything else going on in your world that we should know about?
Price of oil is back down to where it was before the Iran war.
It dropped below $5 a gallon here in California, at least at the gas station that I go to. The 10% ethanol, $4.99 US dollars. So that was the first time for quite a while. So that's great. So the next few weeks, you expect to continue to see that?
I do, although July 1st, new taxes went into effect in California, about, I think, 3 cents a gallon. The state put through, I think, 3 cents a gallon extra on gas in California.
Okay.
As of July 1st.
Okay. So
to pay for road repairs.
Got it. Okay. Well, that would put it back over $5, but hopefully the trend continue to get below. Let's thank you, Bill. Let's continue to go around the room. R.T. Niemker is the founder of IEDA and works with economic development in India. She's got a view of what's going on the ground in India. She's also our executive director at Goa and does a lot of work in Mumbai and all across India. We've got a little bit of sounds like a bird in the background, a very high-pitched sound, RT. But please go ahead and give us an update on what's going on in your world. What's going on in India? Oh, you're muted. You'll need to unmute.
Am I audible now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, great. So I was just facing some speaker issue the way we faced the other day, Doug. I think it's the same thing. Anyways, I am audible, right? So I can go ahead.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay,
Great to
okay,
twice
okay.
in 1 week I get to speak with you. Amazing.
Okay, yeah, same here. So thank you, Doug, and big hello to everyone from India. I'm Aarti Nimkar, Executive Director of Global Chamber Goa and founder and CEO of India Economic Development Association. So it's a pleasure to bring an Indian perspective to this important roundtable. So thank you for the opportunity, Doug. Few pointers would like to share over here. 2026 has been a year of strong momentum for India despite the global headwinds. 25-26, India attracted a significant FDI inflows, which, as the report indicates, equity inflows around is $58 billion and overall gross figures even higher, showing an 18% increase. So Singapore and the United States are leading sources, reflecting deepening trust from traditional and strategic partners. Our government continues to liberalize policies, opening space, other sectors to 100% automatic FDI, easing certain norms under Press Note 3 for startups and a deep take, pushing forward on insurance and manufacturing incentives through PLI scheme. So, on the export front, we are seeing record performances. Merchandise and service exports have shown double digit growth, with April 26 alone crossing 80 billion. Strong sectors include electronics, up over 40% in recent months, pharmaceuticals, engineering goods, and renewables. New FTAs with partners like UA and EFTA are opening doors with tariff reductions and better market access. India is on track toward ambitious targets, including 1.3 trillion in good exports in the coming years. From a regional lens, in Goa and through IDA's work with MSMEs, we are focused on practical empowerment, helping businesses with IEC registrations, compliance, market entry, and export readiness. This bottom up approach is vital because resilient supply chains start with capable local players. Of course, challenges remain for us. It's not a easy road. We continue to manage a trade deficit driven by imports of energy, semiconductors, and critical machinery, logistic costs through improving, and the need for localization are areas where global collaboration can deliver big wins. We are addressing this through infrastructure upgrades, digital public goods, and skill development. The opportunity for all of us is very clear, I feel. India offers a massive domestic market, a young, skilled workforce, policy stability, and a commitment to sustainable and inclusive growth. Whether you are looking to export into India, source from India, or invest in manufacturing, services, or green technologies, we are open for business and eager for partnerships. I would love to hear from others on how you are navigating supply chain diversifications or new FTA benefits. Through Global Chamber Goa and IDA, we are happy to facilitate connections and support joint initiatives. This year, we have tried to do a lot of collaborations with various uh, organizations to reinforce this. So, I would like to understand from everybody, and if there are any other queries from your side, I'll be happy to answer them. But thank you. Let's keep building an unstoppable global trade ecosystem together. Thank you.
Thank you, RT. What events and what activities are coming up in the second half of the year that we should know about? I know you've got a number of different collaborations.
Yes. So just now on 14th, I'm launching the Export Facilitation Center in collaboration with Laghu Udyog Bharti and World Trade Center Goa. As I've already shared the details, it's the Export Facilitation Center. We have a technology partner on board, so that's one initiative I'm spearheading through Global Chamber Goa chapter. Second is the collaboration with Vibrant Goa, which is the biggest summit, which is similar to what happens in Vibrant Gujarat. The same similar brand is extended in Vibrant Goa, where we are completely focusing on the investment, cross-border trade, inviting the delegations to India to participate for the various industries. So it's a huge summit and conclave which is going to take place. So that is one collaboration which we have just signed an MOU, and Global Chamber Goa is going to participate. It's happening in October, so I would like to extend an invitation to everyone who wants to come and attend. Of course, the details will be shared through mail and the postings on LinkedIn in the Global Chamber page. But yes, that is one big collaboration I'm looking forward to. So that is going to take my rest of the 6 months.
That's a big one. Stephen Strittmatter has a question. He's with Ames
Yeah.
International Germany. How are you, Stephen? Quickly.
All right. Quick question. Not too long ago, India and Germany slash the EU made agreements with India, and was wondering right now, have you seen any increase in interest coming in or going out of India right now from Germany slash the EU?
I would say from both the sides. I mean, it's really very. Of course, I'm being little optimistic over here, but I have seen the increase in interest from both the sides. Rather, I would say. So it's very promising.
Any
From
industry in
India,
particular?
entrepreneurs from the energy sector, there is a lot of interest, and another sector which I will talk about is the manufacturing. More German companies are looking of setting shop over here in India, so that particular route is really picking up well.
I
I
know
would say.
BASF just announced a while ago that they were opening up a large center in India as well. Same thing
That's
with
right. Yes,
ArcelorMittal.
that's right.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
So,
Appreciate it. Thank you, RT. We're going to continue to go around the room
thank
so
you.
that we can ideally wrap up in about 30 minutes. So Yuka Nakasone is here. She is a preeminent globalization expert. There's no one better in weaving technology into both globalization and localization. She's also our executive director for 4 chapters in Spain, including her home city of Barcelona. Yuka, you just completed the collaboration between Global Chamber and DES, and there were a number of Global Chamber members there. It looked amazing. DES is an annual meeting that's so important for the digital world, and that's one of the worlds that you live in. What's your update today? Always great to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Doug, for invitation and introduction. Indeed, we went to Malaga, I included. It's a digitization event, most important digitization event in Southern Europe. We gathered handful of members, Global Chamber members from outside Spain, Ubica from New York, and other people came from other cities, and we had a very, very nice collaboration with them, and we are looking into expanding the collaboration. Maybe next year we could have our own stand, Global Chamber, I don't know, but we talked about expanding global digital world. And then, of course, we talked about AI, how we need to implement responsibly, ethically. And as the Global Chamber, we have hosted one session about Global South. Our chair at Global Chamber Malaga, Nacho Vilos, moderated with 3 panel members from Africa, India, and Latin America, talking about Global South, how we need to develop equitably in the world. And so that's what we did. But today I wanted to share some other opportunities here, because I started to collaborate with the Thunderbird School of Global Management. They have a T-Bird Connect in Barcelona in October. If you are T-Bird and coming to Barcelona, please connect with us, because we are fully collaborating. And there is a sponsorship opportunity. Talking about opportunities, please let me know if you know anybody who would be sponsoring. And also, I'm attending, and we are supporting another event about Africa next week. And members are invited. This is a paid event, but the Africa, the inevitable destination for global investors, Part 2. This is the event. And next week, we are going to be participating. It's 3 language events: French, Spanish, and English. If anybody is in Barcelona wants to come, you're more than welcome. Next week, I'm attending a Space Economy Congress, and this is the first edition by regional government and Chamber of Commerce here. And so I'm going to be expanding my knowledge and activities on in the space area. I'd be very interested in talking to people who are active in this industry as well. And I listed 4 winter season NEBEXT events in the comment section of our event notification, this event notification. Quickly going through, in Seville, September, there's a premium food event. Madrid, in September, the district show, real estate investment event. This is the one we are involved in, maybe more than this. This is the event we go and support and expose. Also in Seville in October, Tourism Invest into a Innovation Summit for travel. October in Italy, Bologna, HIP Hospitality Innovation Planet Italy. This is for hospitality industry. We are supporting from here, from Spain. And Malaga in November, Expo Agritech. I am expecting the Global Chamber members coming from Africa for this. And in Rimini in Italy in November, we have an architectural event as well. We are supporting that from here, and I think I'm going to be there as well. In December in Madrid, we have Madrid Expo Camper and Caravan. This is for tourism and outdoor. So that's the opportunities we have for members. Please contact me if anybody interested in anything. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yuka. We're going to continue to go around the room. Michael Quigley is here. We didn't organize anything particular, except when Michael, like Bill, is in the room, we always like to reach out and say hi. I was thinking of you, Michael, earlier this week, and I don't think I've made the introduction yet, but another person who has a vision of impacting 1 billion people. So I'll get you connected. What's going on in your world? Could you give us just a quick update on leadership in the world and in the UK?
Of course I can. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I've never been to this particular meeting before, so I am not an import-export specialist. So if you want to speak to someone who's based in the UK, Ildiko Mokran is 100% your woman. She's fantastic. But just some things I thought from a leadership point of view. The UK is going through another political change. Our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is going to be stepping down and is going to be replaced potentially as soon as within a month by a man called Andy Burnham. So that will be another political change the UK is going through. I thought from a leadership point of view, that's what Doug likes me to speak about. There are a few things I could maybe add. In terms of speed of change, as we know, tech goes quickest, people are second, and organizations are third. That agility, that mental agility that we have is a real skill. And something which a lot of people around the world are wanting now is the ability to think well under pressure. So I'd say there are 3 aspects to that. The first is that agility, your ability to make a change, as quick as you want. Sustainability and certainty of character, which is very important because people say to me, how do we do business in an uncertain world? I said, you be certain. You be the person that can be certain. A question which I've used with my clients to help people to boost their mental agility is to say, are you willing to do something different in order to get a different result? And you can say that to your people when you're doing trades deals, when you're building relationships, are the people open to doing things in a different way? It tells you a lot about their character, which I think can be helpful. And in terms of sustainability, thinking ahead in terms of decades, I like to do that, influenced by the Chinese idea that every 5-year plan should build on the previous 5-year plan, investing in relationships, infrastructure, health, and skill sets, I think can be very helpful. And then the final thing I just add, one of my critical thinking things I like to do with people that helps is a man from Malta called Edward de Bono. And he has a very simple thing called the 6 thinking hats. You might be familiar with it. You can Google it. And I deliberately, when I get opportunities for relationships and partnerships, I will put on the black hat to say, what's wrong with this? Why is this a bad idea? Because I personally quite positive. I'm quite, I like to think of the good, which is really good. But sometimes it's a really bad idea, or it's a good idea, but not for that moment. So those are just some things in terms of leadership, regardless of the countries you're in, that hopefully can help you to stay agile, but also build sustainability. It's not one or the other thing. And thank you for the opportunity. It's great. I haven't seen you guys for a long time. It's fantastic to be with you. And Yuka, you absolutely inspire me with all you do. So thank you very much.
Virtual hugs. Thank you very much. And you've added a couple things to the be global and unstoppable. Be agile, be certain, be global and unstoppable. Thank you. Great tips there. Let's continue to go around the room. Sam Santiago has written a blog post about Pride Month last month. And Sam, how has it gone? Sam, for the month of June, let's take a look back and take a look forward, if you don't mind. Sam is a leader in logistics and in international trade. He is involved as a global advisor with Global Chamber as well. Sam, are you there? And would you like to give an update, please?
Yes, I'm here and I'm on screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. How are you? Where are you today?
Excellent. Yes, I am coming to you today from Dallas, Texas, USA. So,
Hey.
buenos dias. Good morning to all of you. Very, very happy to be here. Doug, thank you so much for the invitation. I am just honored to be in the presence of so many international leaders who do so much, to promote international trade and to promote international trade with a purpose, right? And from the right perspective, which I think is one of the most important things. And one of the reasons why, do you thought that it would be a good idea for me to join the conversation today and provide a bit of an update on what is going on in what is generally known as the LGBTQ plus community, or the spelled out lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer plus community around the world. The first thing that I'd like to do is to really ask the audience here today, those of you that are on the call, do you really think it's necessary to talk about the LGBTQ plus community? The answer would be yes, it is important to talk about them. Number one, from the basic human rights perspective of the fact that every single human being, regardless of their gender identity or sexual orientation, is deserving of dignity and respect. But very specifically, for this audience today, why is it important to have conversations about certain communities that sometimes we don't even give ourselves an opportunity to talk about? Well, I can tell you, being a member of the community, that the purchasing power at a global level of the LGBTQ plus community, according to Alpha Consulting, they are a wealth management and consulting company based in New York City. The purchasing power, as I was saying, for this community is estimated at $4.7 trillion. So for whatever reason, you were not quite sure exactly what the LGBTQ plus community represented for international trade, then I'd like you to reflect on that for just a moment. We don't have all the time in the world, obviously, to give you all that time. So I invite you to do that after our call today, and obviously reach out to me if you'd like to learn more about this particular community. Why June was so important for the community, and maybe you saw, the visibility of this community being elevated, being heightened more than any other time throughout the year. Well, in 1969, and this was just not the first time, but in 1969, in June 28th of the year 1969, a group of members of the community rose against the abuse and the disrespect and the oppression and the discrimination that had been unfortunately launched against this community. Since then, and it's been now over 50 years, the community leadership has been working with governments, with religious leaders, with other community leaders to ensure that we clearly understand that this is a community worth being given the dignity and respect that it deserves. While we clearly understand that we all have all kinds of religious and political leanings, The truth is that there is a universal truth that applies to everything that we should do, particularly if we're involved in global or international trade. That is to respect every human being for who they are. And number two, explore the possibility of what is the economic impact of those individuals in those communities. So, as you continue to give yourself an opportunity to learn more about what the LGBTQ plus community represents and the importance of the month that just passed, with a lot of the issues that we have been dealing with in the community, like marriage equality and even decriminalizing LGBTQ plus activities and partnerships and the right to exist, right? Which in many countries around the world, that is even a crime. The reality is that if nothing else, and I would hope that your ethics and your moral would inspire you to do more. But if nothing else, think about the economic impact of the purchasing power of this community, which once again is indicated to be by the study at $4.7 trillion. Just to add a little bit to this conversation and maybe break this down a little bit more, very specifically for some of the larger markets in the world, specifically for the United States, that spending power is set to be, according to these studies, at $1.4 trillion annually. This is an annual figure. And demographic representation around the world, I'm sorry, in the United States, it's about 30 million adults. And globally, it's about 400 million. That means that an average of between 4 to 7% of the world's population is considered to be representative or part of the LGBTQ plus community. So, given this opportunity, and thank you again, Doug, what we invite you to do is to explore the possibility of doing business with the LGBTQ plus community. There are chambers of commerce, and there are some very well known, particularly in Europe, South America, and the United States, North America, throughout Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and others that are coming up in other parts of the world, like the Asian and African continents. So give yourselves an opportunity to reach out. If you don't know anybody who's a member of the community and you would like to explore a little bit more locally or regionally, what's going on in terms of international trade and commercial activity, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to either provide you with the information myself or maybe even give you an opportunity to connect with the right leader, business leader, community leader, LGBTQ plus chamber leader in whatever part of the world that you're looking for this information. So we invite you to, reflect a little bit on, what is the meaning of being an expert in international trade. Well, that means being inclusive, being respectful, and treating every single human with dignity.
Unfortunately, the world is full of humans that are judgmental, and in fact, we're all judgmental at some level. And judgment creates issues, and those issues include discriminating against people by gender, by their skin color, by their religion, by who they love, and that is not a fundamental value of Global Chamber. In fact, quite the opposite. It's our belief that anyone who can bring value should have a seat at the table. So thank you, Sam, for your leadership. And thank you all for, undoubtedly, all of us are part of some group that is discriminated against or historically diminished. And so we have the capability to understand what everyone else goes through that are from these larger groups that are more diminished. So let's do our best to elevate everyone that can create value within our global business community. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for your leadership.
You're welcome. Doug, if I may, for just a quick second, I know that for the last probably year or so, we've been talking about the possibility of having a subgroup or not, and we have been talking to some of the members who are openly, members of the LGBTQ plus communities. So I invite those on this call today, or if they know of members that might be interested in having conversations that are very specifically aimed at this community. And if you're an ally of the community, you don't have to be a member of the community, but if you're an ally of the community, as I know you are, Michael quickly is on the call. I know he is as well. Yuka who's a member of the advisory council for the International Boutique Hotel Association. They're all great allies with whom I've had the privilege of working one-on-one. Please let me know. I think that it would be worthy, of looking into the possibility of having a little subgroup the way we have subgroups for other, elements of the trade industry, or even, women in leadership. So I'm available and open to exploring those conversations. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's do that immediately. Thank you. One of those groups that you allude to is aerospace, and John Williams leads that for us. John, thank you for your leadership over the years and all that you've done. And thank you for pulling together the information and the leaders into that group. As we build our back end of the system within Global Chamber, we'll be able to better manage those different groups. We've identified 22 of them, as Sam alludes to. There is one for women in leadership. There is one for a variety of different industries, including semiconductor, and the one that John leads. John, could you give us a quick update?
Yeah,
Welcome.
can you hear me okay, Doug?
Absolutely. John's based in Phoenix, Arizona, and you've done some extraordinary work in your career, and so you've got your finger on the pulse of what's going on. What should we know?
Sure, Doug. Thanks for the opportunity to do this, and thank you for the opportunity to coordinate this working group. The update basically that I have today is that Global Chamber, through Doug's efforts, is going to be launching an aerospace and space subcommittee or working group to focus on issues related to aerospace industries and the space industry. So the genesis for this really is, I think that when people ask me what's driving the aerospace and space industries today, I usually tell them that it's one of the most transformative periods that we've seen in a long time. And there are several major forces at work that are all kind of congregating at this juncture in time. So really, these two industries are at a little bit of an inflection point. On the commercial aerospace side, demand for new aircraft is incredibly strong. The challenge today for commercial aerospace is not orders, but rather how to deliver on orders in terms of supply chain resilience, in terms of employee shortages, and things like that. So in defense, the conversation has shifted significantly because of the conflicts we've seen around the world, right? And the geopolitical environment we live in. So governments are investing heavily in drones, missile defense, electronic warfare, intelligence systems, and autonomous technologies. And at the same time, there's a new push or a new emphasis on modernizing procurements and new capabilities can reach the field much faster. Nobody has the appetite anymore to wait 2 years for a government to issue a contract. Those days are quickly disappearing. So governments need to be more nimble, and the Global Chamber is well positioned to help governments in that sector. So the space industry is evolving just as quickly, moving beyond government-led exploration into true commercial space economy. We're seeing commercial satellite launches in numbers that we have not seen before. I believe that Blue Origin on its own is going to launch about 1,400 satellites into space this year. So if that's 1,400 more pieces of equipment that are going to be launched into space. And that's just one company. So technologies that seems to be touching everything, of course, is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is being used increasingly in the manufacturing, engineering, in maintenance, and supply chain management, and in predictive analytics in terms of maintenance and sustainment. While it's not replacing people, it's becoming an essential tool for increasing productivity and improving decision making. So I would say that I put a few topics together that this committee will be exploring in terms of commercial aerospace. Clearing the unprecedented aircraft production backlogs is important. So is digital manufacturing, predictive maintenance using AI, and prepare for the next generation of aircraft in 2030s, which was basically going to be the new single-aisle narrow bodies from Boeing and Airbus. In terms of defense aerospace, their major priorities include low-cost drones, counter-UAS systems, hypersonic weapons, missile defense, electronic warfare, and collaborative combat aircraft. For space, lunar economy and Artemis missions, commercial lunar landers, satellite constellations, space-based communications, and Earth observation are some of the topics that we'll start to explore in this working group. So, Doug, very quickly, I think my message to the group today is if you're interested in these topics, if you're interested in related topics, please either reach out to me or Doug and his team, and let me know if you're interested in exploring further. We're looking for inputs from this group in terms of what issues you're seeing out there related to this domain that could be discussed. We plan on doing some events, virtual and maybe in person down the road. And certainly we'll be issuing invites to speakers and panelists for future events that will run through the Global Chamber. If you're interested in participating in this subcommittee as a member, please again talk to Doug or talk to myself. We'll be happy to include you as a working member of this working group, and you can help to shape the agenda and the nature of this group in a very meaningful way. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please reach out to Doug and I after this call.
It makes a lot of sense. Thank you, John. So thank you. We've got 3 more speakers that I'm aware of, and so we're going to go a little bit over because we've got 7 minutes to go before the top of the hour. And so I apologize that I didn't perfectly manage this. So we are going to go a little over. Hopefully you can hang on. Our next speaker is Kasum Kalabali, who is our regional desk leader for Africa. He's our first one for Africa. He himself has been an executive director for Global Chamber for a number of years. And suddenly he showed up in Phoenix texting me saying, "Hey, I'm here." It's like, oh, wow, fantastic. Let's get together. Well, he was there because he was getting a degree from Thunderbird School of Global Management. So he's been in Phoenix for about a year. He has plans to stay. And so he's continuing to expand his role within Global Chamber, including this regional desk role for Africa. Kasum, thank you for your extraordinary leadership, not just in the region of West Africa from where you're from, but all across Africa and now all across the world. What's your update, please?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doug, for this opportunity to speak this day with incredible people from around the world at the Global Chamber. I think that having this regional desk for Africa as a priority for the Global Chamber is something very important because I see that Africa as now the next frontier of the Global Chamber, and we need to organize ourselves to support our Global Chambers community around the world to connect with Africa and to be able to do great business, trade, and investment. For that, I want to share why in the regional desk of Africa, we think that Africa is important to have a look. We have 7 key points I want to highlight so that our community here and those who will listen to the conversation later can be able to see how to interact with us and to strategize and to work together to make Africa and the entire community of the Global Chamber. First thing you want to remember that Africa is the fast growing population in the world right now. People say that in the 2050, we will be 2.5 billion people around the continent. I think that this is very, very important to know that 70% of the population of Africa will be under 30 years old in the next coming years. In terms of trade now, it's important to remember that Africa has put in place the African Free Trade Continental Area. That's very, very important that we are bringing 1.3 billion people in one market in Africa. And this combined GDP will be $3.4 trillion US. that make Africa the largest free trade zone in the world. I find that though this is very important for our community to look on that specific area we are putting in place. And that will increase the intertrade between Africa by 52%, by 2020, and to make free reduced tariff between those products for 90%. And this is the time to come to Africa. I'm really excited to say that, to take advantage of this market. It's not just to come to sell product, but to come to implement your company in Africa so you can take advantage of this new integrated market. After the phase of all the policies, now we are going to the implementation phase of the IFCTA in the continent. So please make sure that we are able to do together. The next point I want to call is about the digital and tech leapfrogging. Doug, on the beginning of this conversation, you mentioned about AI, right? And this is also a very good opportunity in this African market because the digital economy in Africa is going to eat up to 180 billion by 2030. So this is also a very big market. We can go and see how to do things, to do business and invest in Africa. The next point for us is the energy transition. As you know, the World Bank put in place right now the program they called Priority or Mission 300. Mission 300 is to bring energy to 300 million people in Africa by 2030. This is very important. And the African Development Bank Group is big to contribute to 50. The World Bank will contribute to 250 million people to get access to energy in the continent. So when we put all those 7 opportunities together, what are the main products we can export to Africa? I think that this is very important right now. It's about refined petroleum, machinery and industrial equipment, vehicles and automotive parts, pharmaceuticals and medical supplies, food product and cereal, electronical, and also chemical and fertilizer. Africa is importing every year more than 100 billion in food. So this is another big market. We as regional desk of Africa, we want to work to strategize where we can take our members to go to that market, working with chambers of commerce who are already implemented in the continent, how we can organize trade mission in person to go to the continent. It can be in the northern part, southern part, central part, and we are able to deal with the African Union Commission and the embassies in New York and in Washington. Right now, I'm in Washington, and we are celebrating the 250 years of the United States of America anniversary. In the next 50 years, what the US can do with Africa in terms of global trade, investment, and especially in the energy critical mineral sector. So we are so happy to work with you as the Africa Regional Desk to make the Global Chamber global in Africa and unstoppable. Thank you so much, Doug. And I'm here with Doug to drive this change and this connection to Africa. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. You mentioned about going to Africa, and Nima Maleli is in the room. She has an opportunity for you to come to Africa in October. Nima, are you there, and could you share about that opportunity?
Yes, so everyone, but I'm want to lead everyone. Yeah, thank you very much, Kasum. You have said almost everything. But I want to add that across the continent right now, we are seeing countries becoming more intentional about building economic corridors and investment partnerships. When we are talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area, is creating momentum. But what is even more encouraging is the practical collaboration happening between countries, regions, investors, and private sector. For example, in East Africa, we continue to see stronger integration among Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda. We've been seeing that the president has been signing agreements between countries. So when you combine Tanzania and Kenya GDP, you can see there's a huge market there. But together with the neighboring countries, businesses are increasingly looking beyond national borders and thinking regionally. But in Tanzania, also we have seen last 2 weeks, the president of Namibia and the president of Tanzania also signing agreements of trade. And also in Tanzania right now, we are having one of the biggest trade events taking place right now in Dar es Salaam. It's called the Dar es Salaam International Trade Fair, commonly known as Sabasaba. Sabasaba, it's a Swahili name meaning 7-7. This event has been held every July for many years, but this year engagement and activities have expanded significantly. The level of international participation is remarkable. What stands out is the growing presence of Chinese companies and investors. We continue to see that, based on what Chinese has done, no tariff for African products. We're seeing a strong trade happening between African countries and Chinese, particularly in manufacturing, infrastructure, logistics, energy, and technology. At the same time, we are seeing partnerships emerge between African countries, as I said, between Kenya and Nigeria. But then at the same time, we are seeing now there's an opening for US companies coming to Africa. We have just, Kenya and Nigeria have signed an MOU with California State. And right now, for trade and investment. And right now, Daraja Africa Connect is working with California State to sign the same agreement in Tanzania and Namibia and other 27 countries. But there are also other states that we are working on. We'll be announcing that are signing they're going to sign as sister cities and so forth. So there's a lot of opportunities coming up, and this all will be through Daraja Africa, and we're going to see a lot of difference this year. Daraja is an ecosystem designed to connect people, projects, capital, bankable projects, markets, and opportunity. And this year, Daraja Africa Connect is in Namibia. It's centered on very important theme, rewiring Africa trade, investment, and infrastructure corridors for a fragmented global economy. The most important word for us this year is execution. We have been seeing a lot of, conferences happening, but this time I know Africa is tired of a lot of, discussions. They're here to do business. So what we need now is implementation. We need bankable projects. We need investment trade opportunities. We need stronger trade corridors. We need partnerships that create jobs. We need infrastructure that connects markets, and we need measurable outcomes. And that's what exactly what Daraja is focusing on. We are bringing together heads of state, minister, not one, but heads of states, ministers, development finance institutions, investors, business leaders, chambers, entrepreneurs. I believe Africa opportunity is greater today than at any point in recent history. The continent has young population, as Kasum said, growing markets, abundant resources, and I'm happy that, as always, we are partnering with Global Chamber, and I see a great opportunity from Global Chamber bringing in Africa. When I look at Global Chamber, I see a lot of open markets and how African countries can enter, have a strategy of entering new markets all over the world. Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you.
And just in one addition, we are going to have a very special session for women, and I'm working this with Dr. Pauline. But at the same time, we are looking for strategic partners all over the world. Anyone who wants to participate or work with us, we are open. It can be online, but we will be very happy to see you in Namibia in October 16th and 17th. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Dr. Pauline Crawford, would you like to elaborate on that? And have you got some additional information to share, please?
Yeah, thank you, Doug, and fantastic, Nima. Well explained. Yeah, the opportunities are amazing in Africa, and I shall be there in Namibia. We will be presenting a top leaders roundtable for women and inviting some men, but it is about leading women. As you all know, the story in Namibia is very strong in terms of women leading, female president, vice president, and half of the government are women. And this is not about against men, but women and men working together with a women's lead is proving very successful around the world. And my role is to bring entrepreneurial education in, which is basically really assessing the life credentials of female entrepreneurs and male entrepreneurs who are really driving change and meaningful change. And I'm also just working on a waste recycling project, a deal in South Africa. And you might say, why is that to do with education? But it's about community building. It's about taking the responsibility into the villages, helping the villages to be both educated and employed and part of the economy. So it's very exciting times, and I'm really excited to be working with Nima. I was in Tanzania last July with her, presenting to the two queens and to the Minister of Trade and Industry, and it's very exciting. Nima is a woman of destiny, and I'm so proud to be working with you, Nima. Thank you. And to be part of Global Chamber, Doug, and hopefully to see everybody in Phoenix in August. We'll talk about that. But the future is very bright in Africa, so let's make it happen.
Thank you very much. Both of you alluded to the Women in Global Leadership initiatives that we have, including the final Wednesday of every month. We have a networking group that's been meeting, and now with the leadership of Sipile from Querétaro, who's moving now to Iowa, of all places. Very, very international lady. She's designated a monthly leader for those meetings starting in July. And so definitely catch those. That's for women on the final Wednesday of each month. And I think Dr. Crawford is one of those facilitators of that group. And if not yet, we'll make sure that that happens. You also alluded to the Women in Global Leadership in-person event in Phoenix. That's August 6th. We've been around for 11 years, and this is the 10th annual Women in Global Leadership for Phoenix, where we have 3 to 4 women on a panel and 1 man. And the man is important because we found that men come to the meeting when there's a man on the panel. And it's also very important for men and women to work together. And one of the themes that I've heard over and over again every year is that men and women working together can go further. And that's one of our most inspiring events that we ever hold. And I'm having Dr. Crawford part of the Phoenix one, I'm very excited by. And the lineup is extraordinary. It's in person only. So sorry about that for those of you who can't be in Phoenix on August 6th. If you're in Phoenix August 6th, it's going to be a hot one, probably 115 Fahrenheit, something on that order. So it's not a cool day, but it's a hot day for information and amazing every year with extraordinary women. And so with Dr. Crawford there and Frances Tesmer and all the other people, it's going to be extraordinary. I'd also like to build on what Nima mentioned about Kenya and California. We have an in-person event at Plug, which is the electric vehicle marketplace, largest one in the world, in Los Angeles, West Los Angeles. We have an event on August 26th, and Kenya will be there talking about the Kenya-California relationship. They were at our last year's summer social. This is the summer social for LA, again, in person only at Plug. And Kenya will be back in the room. Very, very important communication around two different, Kenya and California, two very similar geographies in terms of size, in terms of ocean being nearby, in terms of importance of technology, more and more in Kenya, as it is already in California. And so check that out if you can be in Southern California there as well. I'd like to open up the floor now. I think we've covered all the people that we had talked about speaking today. I see a hand raised with Stephen, and if anyone else has some comments they'd like to make, I'd like to open up the floor. Stephen, first for you. What question or comment do you have, please?
I just had a question actually for the with regards to Namibia. Just out of curiosity, is there still a large German presence on there? Because I know a lot of people from Germany still go to Namibia when they're going to Africa, because you still can get around in Namibia in German with a former colony. And I know there are a lot of ties. Is that still the case with some influx, or is that relevant for companies coming into the region?
Nima or anyone, do you have an idea on that?
I really don't have an answer to that, but when I know the new president, she's open for business and she's opening the country. And one of the things that is fascinating, Namibia is surrounded with other countries and it is coming up as a logistic hub in the Atlantic Ocean. So that is the only thing I can say, but I will look into that. I've not looked in that point of view, but what I know, they are open to business. They are really open for investment on other opportunities and taking the SADC region, the southern part of Africa. I think it's coming way but south.
Okay.
Thank you, Nima. Thank you for your question, Stephen. Does anybody else have either some comments or questions or anything else you'd like to add? Did I forget anybody? Hi, Sharon. How are you? Are you available to say hi? Where are you today?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Insightful conversations around global FDI news. And yes, so I'm going to add my voices to the African team because that's my region. And so I actually wanted to go down the rabbit hole of what we are doing with entrepreneurs in sub-Saharan Africa. So we started a project where we are gathering a number of African entrepreneurs because we did realize that access to financing, mentorship, global exposure was a limiting factor to businesses growing in the way they are supposed to grow. We are calling for business leaders, investments, global people well positioned to help sub-Saharan African entrepreneurs. We have a cohort of so many businesses in our portfolio now that we are in our own small way. Our goal is to build Africa's S&P 500s and then to employ more people. So it's a very interesting initiative. We just started in 2026, January, and I am happy to see how Global Chamber can collaborate with us to do this. So I would like to speak with you, Doug, on this, maybe if you have a bit of a sometime, and then, yeah, so that's a little bit about what's going on. But yes, Africa, nobody should miss it. A lot is happening here, and the early birds catch the worm. Thank you.
Let's catch the worm for sure. Thank you, Sharon. Where are you today? Where are you located today?
Today I'm in Douala.
Very good. So in Cameroon. Thank you very much.
Douala, Cameroon, Central Africa.
Fantastic. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Any final comments? Any of the speakers would like to make any final comments? Anything you left off or anything we should be thinking about for the weekend?
Hey, Doug, I just want to touch on the African thing real quick.
Yes, Donald.
So there is a lot going on in Africa. In fact, there's about $6.2 billion worth of investment projects taking place that are in front of me right now. So one of the biggest things that we do find with a lot of what's taking place in Africa is that um, they do have a lot happening. They do have a lot of business that is transpiring and so forth. It's getting them prepared for the investors to come in, and that's where we've been working really hard with a lot of the companies there. And they are ripe for investing and so forth. Africa right now is something that the GCC is looking at. I know that the African GCC Council has just been established, so it is a great continent and a great place to start looking at exploring and also investing into. So I just want to touch on that.
You mentioned the GCC also, so just to follow up and put the bow on it, we had an amazing meeting starting this week on Monday on GCC opportunities. We went around the room and got lots of different perspectives. The next conversation is the 9th, so next Thursday, and that is both an in-person event in Dubai and 1 hour will be set aside for the virtual component, and that will be led by Ayman Alawadi, who's our executive director for Global Chamber in the UAE, with a reach across the GCC region. I've been able to meet Ayman in person. He's also given presentations at Global Chamber Boston, Global Chamber New York, and I met him at Global Chamber Vancouver, where he gave a presentation on the opportunities in the UAE. Those are obviously very hot. The UAE is the GCC countries, 75% of the GDP is UAE and Saudi Arabia. About half of it is UAE. And so there's a lot still going on. As Michael Tucker talked about last Monday, in terms of the view, he quoted Wayne Gretzky of going to where the puck will be. That's as is secret, not just where it is, but where it will be. And his perspective being in Saudi Arabia is the puck is headed there. However, there's still an awful lot going on in the UAE that's worth going after. It's the bulk of the GDP for the GCC, and so you'll hear more on the 9th. Does anybody else? Thank you, Donald.
Yeah, and
Anybody?
he's going to be traveling here to the West Coast sometime in the next couple of months. So,
Oh, you mean Ayman?
Hyman, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
will be. So he'll be here actually in November.
yeah,
He'll be in Las Vegas, he'll be in Phoenix, he'll be in San Francisco, and he'll be in Los Angeles, and we're coordinating those visits right
yeah.
now. So
I have a
it'll be
lunch date.
around Thanksgiving, fortunately. So there's a little bit of a dancing around Thanksgiving, but we'll figure it all out.
Yep.
Jayesh, thank you. What question or comment do you have, please?
I just have one request. Maybe next time we start with the other part of the world, the east part of the world, especially what's happening in the east part, because that's what I'm more interested in, especially what's happening in Southeast Asia, because we have seen Thailand is just stagnated. So happy to know about what's happening in Vietnam and the Far East. So it would be great if next time we could start with somebody from that side of the world. It would be very helpful for me.
Great idea, great thought, and we'll arrange that. Thank you very much. Would you be open to participating in that event? I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all.
I'll be happy. I'll be happy.
Yeah, fantastic. And we'll get some folks from either Japan or Korea or Vietnam and bring some in. Thank you. Great thoughts. Or Singapore. Thank you. Anybody else have anything before we close the room? Definitely check out the event on the 9th. Thank you, everybody. It is the 250th anniversary of the United States. And as we were talking before the recording started, I'm old enough to remember the 200th anniversary. That was actually my high school graduation year. And we went to Philadelphia, which is the home of the United States, where everything was signed. And it was an inspirational time. And the 250th is a little bit, honestly, a little bit torn. I believe in the United States. I believe in the vision for the US. I think we've lost the way a bit in terms of some of our leadership. And on the trade side, as we think about Africa, when I watch what China is doing in Africa, I feel good for China. I feel good for Africa. I feel that there's opportunities not just for the US, but for other countries to participate in this new, fresh opportunity, all these fresh opportunities that are happening. My own belief is that India and Africa are the future in terms of the greatest amount of growth in the next 10 or 20 years. And we all need to be participating, just like AI. I mean, we can't turn our back on AI. We have to embrace it fully. And similarly, it is time to embrace both India and Africa. And I hope and I wish that the 250th anniversary of the United States is an opportunity for Americans to really get refreshed, that it's not about us as Americans, it's about us as the global tribe, as us as the world, as us as global citizens, as us as opportunities all over the world, because more and more AI is allowing us to participate anywhere. And so Global Chamber certainly will be anywhere and everywhere and facilitating trade everywhere. And so hopefully this is a reaffirmation that the world is a very special place. Let's go after it and be certain, be global, and unstoppable. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you. Happy
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Kasum and Dr.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, RT. Thank you, Donald. Thank you,
Bye,
Nima.
Doug. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ivo. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And those of you who have been attending and not up on stage, thank you as well. Thank you, everybody. We're going to close the room now.